Welcome back, Star Wars fans, to the Hyperspace Database. I'm Jonesy the Mandalorian, your humble host here, with today's topic, the Imperial War Droids of the Dark Empire comic book series. The X-1 Viper and the Shadow Droids were Imperial weapons designed to decimate the forces of the New Republic, as seen in the Dark Empire comic books. The Shadow Droids were developed by the Imperial Department of Military Research, while the X-1 Vipers were initially developed by Balmoran Arms, a neutral developer. The Imperial Shadow Droid was a very interesting droid starfighter, mainly because it was piloted by surgically implanted organic brains, which in all reality made them more cyborg ships rather than full droids. The Shadow Droids were 6 meters long and could reach a maximum atmospheric speed of 1,150 kilometers per hour, which was slightly faster than a Rebel Alliance T-65B X-Wing in atmosphere. The ships were very heavily armed, being equipped with 2 laser cannons, 1 ion cannon, 1 repeating blaster cannon, 1 electromagnetic pulse gun, a concussion missile launcher, and a proton torpedo launcher. The Shadow Droid had a very interesting history, as it was relatively foreign technology to use an organic brain in a machine, though this had been accomplished with the Ba'omar monks that were seen on Tatooine in Jabba's palace in Return of the Jedi, and in the strange entechment technology that the alien Sea-Rook used in the Legends novel Truce of Bakura. Emperor Palpatine was quite interested in this technology, and how the Sea-Rook used it to enslave their prisoners, so he attempted to model the Shadow Droids on this form of tech, though his chief engineer Umak Leth had a hard time replicating the process with their Imperial ships. The result was a neural-linked system that took the brains of battle-wounded Imperial pilots and eliminated their sense of humanity and emotion, instead heightening their reflexes and processing time to that beyond normal human capabilities. Palpatine would take this one step further though and infused his pilots' brains with dark side magic, so that he could reach out and control them, and they could in turn touch the dark side and use its power to a limited extent. The Shadow Droid was introduced to the galaxy at large around 5 years after the Emperor's defeat at Endor, after the Emperor returned in a new, younger clone body, and unleashed his hidden military forces on the unsuspecting New Republic, as seen in the first Dark Empire series of comics. These ships were developed on the Imperial throne world of Biss, which was in the Deep Core, and never taken over by the New Republic. They were released after the events of the first Dark Empire, in the Legends Dark Empire 2 comic series. The world of Balmorra had supplied the Empire with machines for years, and had resisted Imperial rule whenever they could, but at this point in history, they openly defied Operation Shadowhand, which was led by Executor Cedrus at the time, and refused to provide the Imperials with any more weaponry. Naturally, the Imperials did not take kindly to this news, and proceeded to invade the planet, though they met incredible resistance in the form of Balmorra's new SD-10 war droids. While these forces were formidable, after a lengthy battle, Cedrus unleashed the new Shadow Droids on the Balmoran forces. The Shadow Droids made quick work of the SD-10 war droids, and were on the brink of turning the tide of the battle. But the Balmorans had their own surprise up their sleeves, the X-1 Viper Automaton. The X-1 Viper was a 6-limbed war droid that stood about 6 meters high, and was heavily armed, and it was often compared to having equal power to an Imperial AT-AT Walker. It possessed 2 front heavy pincer arms, 2 boosted blaster cannons, 2 concealed chin-mounted laser cannons, and a grenade launcher. The icing on the cake with these fearsome warbots, though, was their full-body molecular shielding, which could not only withstand powerful energy blasts, but could absorb lasers and convert them to power their own systems, making the droid stronger the more it was attacked. The X-1 Vipers turned the tide of the battle back in favor of the Balmorans, and the Imperials eventually conceded the battle, making a deal then to purchase their advanced machines, in exchange for the freedom and neutrality that the Balmorans so desperately desired. Here's a fun fact: the design of the X-1 Viper droid was based on the native sun beetle of the planet Kubindi, and this droid was also developed in secret. No one outside the system knew of its development. The X-1 was initially going to be sold to the New Republic after the Emperor's defeat at Endor, but with the reappearance of the Reborn Emperor in the first Dark Empire series, Balmorra once again fell under the control of the Empire. After the Empire was led to defeat and made an agreement to purchase the X-1 Vipers from Balmorra, the governor of Balmorra, Governor Beltane, secretly arranged for a shipment of Vipers to fall into the hands of the New Republic, who used the Walkers to secretly infiltrate the Imperial throne world of Biss in an attempt to destabilize the Imperials there, and got all the way up to the steps of the Imperial Citadel itself before they were set upon by chrysalide Rancor beasts engineered by darkside magic, which tore the Vipers to shreds. The Viper's armor was meant to withstand enemy laser fire, but against brute strength on that scale, not even molecular armor could last, and the rebels were forced to retreat as their war droids were decimated right before their eyes. While the X-1 Viper droids were destroyed in this battle, more were undoubtedly produced by Balmorra Arms, and served in their private military force in addition to being sold to other organizations throughout the galaxy. On the same note, the Shadow droids were not seen after the Battle of Balmorra in any major battles for the Empire, though they could have had more of them in supply and were pulled back after the Empire's defeat there. The Shadow droid and the X-1 Viper automaton were incredible pieces of technology, and were extremely deadly on the field of battle, where they decimated enemy forces with their heavy weapons and super tough armor, striking fear into the hearts of their opponents and instilling awe and respect into their comrades. Want to know more about Star Wars topics just like this one? Stick around to the end for some secret trivia, check out my other videos, hit those like and subscribe buttons, and the bell to be notified every time I publish a new episode. Be sure to chat with me in the comments because I really want to hear from you on this and any other Star Wars topic. Super special shout out to my Gold Captain level Patreon supporters Miss 2003, Matthew Scott, and Nick Sutphin. Your support is so incredibly appreciated and you keep the show going. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for watching this episode. Be sure to chat with me in the comments and check out my other videos, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.